Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I want to touch on a topic that I get asked quite a bit, just how to juggle homeschooling with a baby on your hip and a toddler that just wants to get into everything or is at your feet. And sometimes it can feel like herding cats while you're trying to read a Shakespeare lesson or sing a folk song or teach a math lesson. And yes, it can be really, really challenging at times, and we have to learn to give ourselves grace, but it is totally doable to have a homeschool routine and be a homeschool family when you have little ones in your home. This is part of a homeschool YouTube collaboration with 3 homeschool moms, which are just so wonderful. You need to check out their channels if you're looking for just some hope and encouragement during maybe a very busy season with little ones. And so Marissa's video will be tomorrow, and then you can check back in on the playlist and also see a video from my friend Ariel and Jerilyn. So be sure to check out that link below. I think it could be really helpful to hear from a variety of moms because each of us are handling these seasons in different ways. And so what works for one of us may not or may work well for another. So I hope that these videos will just be a source of encouragement and inspiration and help. So my kids are ages 12, 10, 6, 3, and then 5 months old. So this is not my first rodeo. I already went through like a toddler baby stage when my 2 sons were little and I was homeschooling my girls. Of course, now we are into having 3 in school plus a toddler. So for sure, there's a little more juggling happening, but hopefully you'll get some practical tips today. So as you can see, we are here together, and this is just a practical example of how a mom can continue to do her responsibilities while also serving the baby as well. And of course, my first tip would be to wear your baby, but more on that soon. I'll share like my favorite carriers and just how we make these things practical. But the first tip I wanted to share today is just learning how to adjust your expectations. I think that through different seasons of our homeschool journey, we have had timetables, we have had organized routines and morning routines and lunch schedules and everything. And in certain seasons, that can be so helpful. But when you have a toddler or a baby, a newborn especially, you have to be able to take flexibility as your best friend. And this is coming from a mom who thrives on routines and schedules. If you've been around here, you know I love those. But in this past spring season, I have found that it is more important for me and the kids just to have that communication open that we are in a flexible season for right now. I think in the idea of adjusting our expectations, it's really important, and it goes along actually with the Charlotte Mason education that short lessons are the key to success. And not only for the attention span of our older students, but also that helps us be able to get in the lessons that we need to help them with in a short amount of time. The second tip I have for you is creating daily routines. Now, this is not a schedule or a timetable that we need to follow, but routines and habits that literally will anchor us in our day. Think of like your routine that you have for yourself personally. The same thing works for our babies and our toddlers. They will thrive on expectation of what is coming next. And so although we are flexible, it is important for us to have like, breakfast and maybe morning time, family read alouds, when do they practice their music, all of these structures. The older kids as well, because then they can kind of flow through those routines. If we are called away to, wipe a toddler's butt or nurse a baby, they can continue to flow through the routine, which I have personally found to be so very essential for homeschooling with little ones. Along with routines, one thing that your babies and toddlers may or may not give you most days is a nap time, whether that's predictable or not necessarily, but if they give you that, you can prioritize the most important mom help needed. And so that could be such things as like reading lessons or math lessons or things that you have to sit down and help them with. My third tip is having independent activity bins. And so we've done this in a few different ways. We have an activity basket in our homeschool room where we keep like wipe off books, sticker books, some finger paint books, anything that my toddler can kind of get into and play independently when I am needed by someone else. We also will utilize kinetic sand and Play-Doh and puzzles and any sort of handicrafts. And if you keep those rotating, that can really, really help. But making them like a grab and go basket is very helpful, especially with the toddlers. Fourth tip is including littles in your learning. So your toddlers, most especially your toddlers, want to do school with your older kids. And I found this with my 6-year-old when he was a toddler and my girls were in like second grade and kindergarten. So this was, 4 or 5 years ago. I went ahead and got him just some like workbooks. You could even just go to your local dollar store and give him a couple books so that he feels like he has some school as well. I really do like the Preschool and Kindergarten by Rod and Staff, although essentially it's not a Charlotte Mason education. In those little years, it is fun to have things that are ready, open, and go that are like trace your number or trace your letters or anything like that. And then they feel like they have some school. That worked really, really well for my 6-year-old son. And he actually learned a lot in those preschool kindergarten years. And so I'm going to do the same thing for my 3-year-old, 3.5, he'll be 4 in January, and I'm going to get him those as well and just let him kind of like play school as needed. And I have found that that is a super, super helpful thing to do. And also, one way you can include your baby in your school is just by wearing your baby. I really have liked the Sully wrap for just that cozy feeling, especially if your baby is a newborn. My baby is 5 months old now, and so we have moved on to this Ergo, and I did not have this carrier with my first 4 children, but I went ahead and invested in this. In fact, I got it on Marketplace, so definitely check your Facebook Marketplace or local friends for anyone that is done using this. But this has been already a huge help with our first week of school behind us. In the spring, I utilized the Sully wrap or Moby wrap or, a tie carrier when she was a newborn, but I wore the baby pretty much the whole morning. And so what I do like about this one is it doesn't pull on my back at all. I feel really comfortable in this, supportive in this. And you can like do your read alouds, or you can do a lot of things with baby in you, even if the baby is not taking a nap and they're wide awake. My 5th tip is to have like a engaging space for your children. So if you are doing school in your living room or in your kitchen, or you have a designated school space, make sure that basically it's kid friendly. Is there things that your toddler could get into that's going to interrupt your whole lesson? Is there a way for you to kind of put those things away? Same with your baby. Can you get like a baby gate maybe and put a blanket down to kind of, corral them if they're crawling? Or I was just gifted a bouncy seat. My 5-month-old is loving it, and I'll probably pass that on to my sister once we finish with it. So that's a way for us to kind of like manage her as she gets a little bit older and wants to start crawling around, and then maybe like a baby gate in terms of the toddler or 1-year-old or 2-year-old, just making sure there's not like, water, like, or not water paint, but like acrylic paint that they like can't get into and like spill everywhere, or, permanent markers. Let's make it like a safe space for them, our school space, right? Somewhere where we can kind of let them free range to a certain extent if we're in the middle of doing morning time. But I think having a space that they feel comfortable with, and then you can also rotate toys. I actually will do this with the activity bin that I shared about earlier, the activity book bin, and even our kinetic sand and Play-Doh. I will rotate those because then it feels new. And listen, when your 3-year-old has to sit down day after day and try to behave and listen while you're helping your older kids, it can be a game changer if you rotate their activities or their books or just their fun things for them to do. My 6th tip is to use tools to free you up. Because let's be honest, especially with the nursing baby, that can take a lot of time and focus and your hands, as you're holding them up. And so we need to be practical about this. And the same thing goes with the toddler as well. One thing that we really use besides the baby wrap carriers, I would definitely put that in my top tools. We've actually used the YOTO quite a bit. If you don't have a YOTO, you can use your laptop or your cell phone, but we have utilized some audiobooks. We don't need as much this coming year, but in the spring, I outsource quite a bit to LibriVox.com. It's a free audiobook. They have a lot of the literature that we use in our Charlotte Mason education. And that's just because I was nursing quite a bit those first few months. And so it helped me, even though I may have been present right next to the student or all of my kids, if it was like family read aloud, it allowed someone else to read it to us and we could all listen and then narrate. That was essential for me with the newborn. As I planned out this year, I don't think that's going to be as necessary, although we are still utilizing some audiobooks for the kids or for us as a family, because I do think it's still very helpful and it's a good backup if baby is sick or teething or your toddler is just having an extra cranky day, that you can like fall back on that tool. I think you'll find really very helpful. So utilize your tools. That's my 6th tip. My 7th tip is to involve your older children as much as you can. This will actually empower them, embolden them to build on to their own education. And we have done this often in our own home. So just a simple example of this is having your older kids have playtime or read aloud time with the toddler, or even if you have like a kindergarten or first grader, like my 12-year-old, doing one of the books with my 6-year-old, or having a little time to play with the baby, actually put into your routines could be really, really helpful. And it also, that's like the point of being at home and being a family, is learning how to just work all together. And so that is my 7th tip. Just having your siblings read out loud to the little ones, have them like be the teacher. Honestly, have seen how this has blessed my 12-year-old and my 10-year-old in the past. I actually had in our timetable, having a time where they're actually scheduled to play with their little brothers or to play with the baby at this point or read them a book could be so very, very helpful. And also using your older kids to help prep snacks or lunches. I know my mom was a homeschool mom, and I came from a family of 7. And I remember in our routine, it was my job for quite a few years to make lunch. And my mom did the menu planning. She made like what I was going to make for lunch. So I didn't have that responsibility, which was good at my age. But it was my job to like whip up the macaroni or make the sandwiches and, you know, get the little Debbie snacks out and whatever it is. That was very empowering for me. And I remember like being an older sister and like making lunch for the kids. So don't be afraid to like give them some responsibility. I think that that can be a really, really good thing. So my 8th tip, and I'm sure there's more things, you know, as I go through doing a day in the life videos, I'll be like, oh, that would be really helpful for them as well. But hopefully I try to think through most of the things. So really the last thing I would say is to give yourself grace. Some days, like raising your toddler as a family is the lesson, you know, because that's just how it is. And prioritizing them sometimes will help ease the burden for the rest of the day. Along with giving yourself grace, it's really important that when you have little ones, you don't harp on yourself that you're not doing all the things that you need to do, whether that's getting through the books or it's getting through the lessons or the morning time. We have to remember, even in a Charlotte Mason education, that real life is an education. We're giving our kids a real life experience as they come alongside us and see that mom is homeschooling and we're cooking and we're gardening and canning and we're taking care of a baby and a toddler. They see that, and that is also learning. It's really like everyday things. Our family right now has a garden and we're canning, and we're going to take time off to like do those things. And that's part of education. And so give yourself grace if you're not getting through maybe all the book work, you know, mom helping work. Maybe there's been a couple days where they're only doing things that they can do independently. And that's okay, right? I feel like that's the hardest lesson that I've had to learn as a mom after homeschooling for 7+ years, is that it's never, ever, ever going to look like what you expect it to look like. And the more that you can just like not lay down your piece and just just take the day as it comes, the more peace you're going to have in your motherhood and in your homeschool as well. Just remind yourself that this is just a season. Like if you're a new homeschool mom, or maybe you're a veteran mom and you just need this reminder, as I'm reminding myself, every single season looks entirely different. Every term, if you've been following me for a while, you've heard my term reviews and our yearly reviews. Oh, and every single season has looked entirely different. And we are pivoting and changing as our family has evolved. And so know that, like, maybe this isn't exactly how you have your ideal homeschool routine or days look like, but it's just a short season. And before you know it, they'll be the 12-year-old in school. So we don't need to rush this. We're just going to take it as it comes. It's fine. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to get through this together and it's going to be fine. And in 6 months, it might look entirely different. And you might be able to turn around and tell your friend that, listen, this is just a season and it's a good thing and you're going to get through it too. Those like 8 tips will be things that you can kind of anchor in. If you're not doing some of them, well, maybe you'll be able to implement them one at a time into your routine. Get some rotating baskets. Get yourself a carrier. Don't fight it. Put baby in it. Let baby take naps in the carrier. It's fine. It's not going to like ruin their routine or something, their sleep schedule. It will be fine. Celebrate those little wins. You are building something wonderful, incredible, worth the investment, worth your time. And yes, it may feel very, very messy in the moment and at times, but it is still God's work and it is a good thing. Hopefully you found that video helpful. Make sure to check out the playlist down below and keep an eye out for Marissa's video tomorrow and then the next 2 consecutive days to get just some more great ideas from these ladies that are trying to serve all you here on YouTube. And I will see you guys in my next video as we all are gearing up for back to school season and just taking on this new year, taking on it with little ones if you are, and just letting God lead us in our homes, in our family, and in our hearts. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.